Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Central Ohio. I'm your host, Owen Stapley, and we're here at the Northwest Ohio Antique Machinery Show here in Findlay, Ohio at the Hancock County Fairgrounds. And we've got quite a few events going on this week. August 1st to the 4th is the dates of the show, and we're here in the steam engine section. And we got quite a few steam engines out here this year. Looking forward to having a great time. We're going to get a little bit of info here on this steam engine. Sir, what's your name and where are you from?
My name's Wade Williams. I'm from Deschler, Ohio. This behind me is a 1916 Port Huron. I can't tell you right now what the horsepower is, but basically a steam engine you take and put fire in one end and water in the other, and you boil it like you would boil your pot of spaghetti on the stove, and then you pressurize that and you use the pressure into this cylinder right here, and the cylinder takes your steam and converts it to power, and your belt pulley on the other side runs the sawmill, the thrashing machines, the fans, anything that you can belt it to.
It looks like you guys are going to be running a sawmill here. What time are you guys going to be running it?
Here sometime this early afternoon, whenever our sawyer gets here. The sawyer is the man who runs the mill and makes the boards and everything, and whenever he gets here, that's when we'll start the sawing up. We're going to thrash it too, so we'll probably have an engine on for that. And
you want to tell them what thrashing is?
So thrashing is the thrashing machine's down here, and it's the back end of what today's combines would be. You take your wheat and you put it into the thrashing machine, and it separates the wheat seed from the stem and gets rid of the straw and puts the wheat into the clean grain wagon. You would do that back in the day, blow your straw probably into your hayloft for bedding for your cows and stuff, and that's what thrashing is.
All right. We want to thank you for your time, and thanks for telling us about all this, and we hope you guys can come out here. It's August 1st through the 4th at the Hancock County Fairgrounds in Findlay, Ohio. There's all sorts of events here for all ages. We have craft building and a good-sized flea market this year, garden tractors, regular antique tractors, and obviously a steam section. We want to invite you out here at Hancock County Fairgrounds. Alan's going to tell us a little bit about the SpeedX here. What year is it, what model, and horsepower?
The 1971 SpeedX S24, 10 horsepower Briggs & Stratton, cast iron.
Okay, what kind of rear end, how many speed?
Well, it's got a SpeedX rear end. It's a 3-speed with a Crosley transmission that came out of the Crosley cars.
Okay. How long have you owned it, and did you restore it yourself?
It was partially restored when I bought it from Terry next door here, and I completed the frame, the motor, and everything else on it.
Okay, thank you.
It is old school.
Right here we have a good friend of mine, and he's going to show us one of his garden tractors he owns. Sir, what's your name and where are you from?
Dave Williams, Melmore, Ohio.
And what do you have here today at the show?
1961 Springfield 36, made in Springfield, Ohio, actually by Quick Manufacturing.
Okay, could you tell us the horsepower and the gear speeds and a little bit about the history of Springfield Tractor Company maybe?
This has a simple 3-speed forward, 1 reverse. They've been around a long time. They were making them before this, but this was the first year for this model. It's just 7-horse Briggs & Stratton engine.
Now, did you do the paint job yourself, or who did it for you?
No, actually, the paint was already done when I got it. I just finished it out with the stickers and whatever, battery, and getting it running and all that.
We have a pretty interesting piece of equipment here. I've never seen it personally, and I've been collecting for over 10 years now. Another good friend of mine. A lot of good friends here. Just tell us your name and where you're from and what you have here.
Knox Wilson out of Brookville, Ohio. We've got a 1975 Struck, big job. It's got a 4-speed Peerless transaxle, 16-horse Tecumseh engine. These were made out of Wisconsin. They were kit tractors. So you'd buy it and they'd send it to you in a bunch of boxes and you put it together.
Okay, and is that the original color of the tractor, or did somebody paint it?
No, the gentleman that bought it new, he always wanted a John Deere and couldn't afford it, so he thought he was going to paint it green yellow. It originally would have been yellow, about the color that the engine is.
John Deere was high dollar back in the day, and most people couldn't afford it. It was like the Rolls-Royce of tractor back in the 70s and 80s. What was the price like on something like this brand new, do you think?
We actually have the original invoice. It was $1,500 new. He ordered it with the 16-horse engine. I'm Rachel Martin, by the way. Anyhow, he ordered it with the 16-horse engine. They mailed it to him with the 12, and back and forth, he ended up with both engines, and we bought the spare engine as well for a smaller one that is the same brand.
Okay, and I guess this kind of was like the MTD of back in the day, was it? Am I right?
Yes.
And this was kind of the cheaper version of a garden tractor, but As you can see, if you come back here, it's still got quite the rear end in it, and it looks like you have a 3-point on the back, or an option for a 3-point. And as far as I know, you can get all sorts of attachments for something like this. You can get a front end loader, you can get a backhoe for it, cultivator, I'm sure, all the odds and ends, a single, probably even a 2-bottom plow maybe. And anything else you can get for this that I haven't mentioned?
We've got a disc for it. We've got the belly mower for it. But you name it, you could get attachments for it.
Okay, and how long have you been showing here or coming to Findlay?
I believe this is our 4th year.
Okay, we want to thank you for coming out and allowing us to interview you. All right, we're here with another good friend of mine here in the Garden Tractor section. Sir, what's your name and where are you from?
Well, if I'm your good friend, you know already. Alan Hanley, Macomb, Ohio.
All right, and we're here at your setup here, and tell us a little about what you have out here this year.
Oh, I got 6-7 Speed X's, 1964 Panzer, pilot case, and 70 or 98 Kimball.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about SpeedX and the history and where they were made and who founded it?
Well, they started out as a pine tractor company in the 30s and progressed, started making field grade tractors in the 40s, and then started producing SpeedX in the late 40s. And the brothers had a split. One continued making SpeedX, and the other one went on to make Wheel Horse.
Okay. Could you tell us a little bit about your S-Series and what the numbers mean and horsepower and everything, maybe?
Maybe. So they made different variations of everything. This is an S24. That was the biggest of the S-Series, going all the way down to the S14, which are the ratty-looking ones on the end, because I didn't bring mine. But they pretty much 23s, 24s were 10-horse Kohlers or Briggs, and then you went down to 9-horse, 8-horse, 6.5-horse.
Okay, and what do the numbers mean, 23 and 24?
Just the number they put on them.
Okay. How long have you been showing here at Findlay?
10 years.
10 years, and
Ever since you were about this big on a little red wheel horse.
yep, he's got that right. Almost directly beside him about 10 years ago.
Drove the tires off.
But about drove the tires off of it, folks. And like I said, there's activities out here for all ages. If you come out August 1st through the 4th, 10 p.m., there's a spark show at the steam engines every night. And it's very interesting to come out here and see how things used to be.
It's a good time, and it's just a way to get away and not worry about anything.
All right, Alan, we want to thank you for allowing us to interview you and
Sure.
showing us around your tractors.
You got
So,
the money?
not yet. Thank you, Alan. Park. Okay, we're here at my own personal setup here at the Northwest Ohio Antique Machinery Show in Findlay, Ohio. And I want to tell you a little bit about my collection I have here. Right here we have a 1954 SpeedX WT walking tractor. And this is not the original motor. This is semi-original to the horsepower that it would have in 1954. This was before we interviewed Alan across the street here. And this was before SpeedX started making ride-on tractors. And if this is an after production sulky, which you ride on the back of it, a good friend of mine, a good friend of Alan, his son built this rear end so you could have something to ride on at the tractor shows. And this rear end, sulky is what they call it, is a rear end off of a SpeedX tractor just like this one right here. So if you take a look at it, they're pretty similar in the rear end styles. So somebody just chopped one of these in half and welded it onto a piece of metal and stuck it on here, and I can demonstrate it if you want. I can sit on here, and this is where you go and you stop. Here's your brake, and it's good for riding around on shows. When you go to a tractor show or something, you don't have something to ride around on. We're going to go down here to the John Deere section, and I believe this is a 1966 John Deere 112 or 110. It's got a 10 horse Kohler, K-series Kohler on it. This is a 1969 John Deere 112 with a 12 horse Tecumseh motor on it. It also has a 3500 watt Pencor generator. This is a very sought for attachment, very rare attachment for the John Deere collectors. Pencor made the generator and John Deere made the plate. and it was very sought after. This is a 1986 John Deere 214, 14-horse Kohler K-Series motor. Nothing too special about it, very common motor, or a very common garden tractor. Over here we have the David Bradleys. These are a friend of mine, John Fredericks. We might get a chance to interview him later today if he comes around. David Bradley, they're walk-behind tractors and Tri-Track. That was one of their only ride-on tractors they owned or they made. Most of them have Wisconsin motors on it. This has a Wisconsin motor. High-low speed. Fuel tanks up on front here. His girlfriend put some saddlebags on here, make it look like a Harley. But hey, it flies around here, and we like to have a little fun around here, and that's okay. And this year the feature is Massey Ferguson, and we're going to come over here to. Everybody here, we're all like family here. We're all good friends with each other, and a good friend of mine, Forey Fredericks, he's not able to be here yet. Still bringing in some garden tractors, and this year the feature is Massey Ferguson for our show. And here's just some items: gas cans, batteries, oil cans, battery chargers, paint renewer, looks like. All sorts of different stuff that Massey Ferguson had their name on, signs from dealers. And we'll move on over here to Eric Bowman, his section. Another SpeedX S14. This was one of the smallest S series they made. I have one of these at my setup too. Not sure what year it is. Cub Cadet 100, 129 with a Danco front end loader. Cub Cadet 100, that was the smallest garden tractor they made back in '63. 782 International Cub Cadet when they painted them red. Another Cub Cadet 100, 1650 Cub Cadet. Then a 108 Cub Cadet, 8 horsepower Kohler in that. Over here we have some hit and miss motors hooked up to various pieces of equipment. Corn shellers and water pump on that one back there, as you can see. I'm pretty sure this is a corn sheller. Yep, corn sheller on this one. Here's where you can grind your corn down. You put corn in here, grinds it down, run by the hit and miss motor off the belt. These are usually dated from 19-teens to about the early 1930s. And these are what they used before they had big powerhouse tractors to run their operations with. So yeah, it's pretty neat to see how things operated back in the day. That one right there in the middle, that's a water pump on that one. Sometimes they start them up and demonstrate them, and we'll go down there and see that here in a few minutes if you stay tuned. We have quite the engine section here at the Northwest Ohio Antique Machinery Show here in Findlay. And yet again, we want to invite you to come out August 1st through the 4th. I'm going to keep telling you. And we have a good church service on Sunday morning at 9:30. I'll be singing, and a good friend of mine, Tony Crow, will be preaching. So we'll continue on with our show here.
Only the church has an exit. Hell has no exits. When God prepared hell for Lucifer, He did not prepare hell for humans. He prepared hell for Lucifer. And when he prepared hell for Lucifer, he made a way that hell could see what's going on in heaven for the fact of torment. But when he made hell, he fixed it in such a way that those that are in hell can never exit, and those that are in heaven can never come to where they're at and help them out. Can I tell you tonight, you ought to exit while you can. You need to exit a life of sin while you can. Exit your lifestyle while you can. If you question whether your life is pleasing to God, you listen to this preacher tonight. Exit while